Hi guys, and welcome back to episode number 15 of our Youth Academy Challenge with Ituano in Série C in Brazil. Getting ready to kick off season number 3. We're about a month away from the opening of competition in the Sao Paulo State Championship. And I thought, because I also got some comments in the Discord that you would like to see this, I thought we would start off by talking about the players that may be available to us in the coming year, specifically focusing on the players that have come in through our youth intake, obviously prior to this year, and see how they have done as we have loaned them out or kept them around and given them some playing time here. We start with Guilherme, left back. 17-year-old came in through our first youth intake, spending the season out on loan at Inter de Lagos. Now, the way that things work in Brazil is they basically take a player on loan for 6 months, and then you have the option of potentially renewing them for the remaining 6 months of the season. That's why it's kind of broken up here. Unfortunately, there's no way to really combine the stats. So in his first stint, played 25 matches, picked up 2 goals and 4 assists. In his second, 2 and 3 in 21 appearances, 19 of them starts. A pretty decent player so far. We do want to see how he continues to develop. He's not much of a defensive player at all, but he's becoming a little bit more of an offensive force. Lucas, who's a right winger, has been spending the year at Mourinho's and having a pretty successful stint there. In his first 6 months, 26 appearances, 9 of them coming in the cup, 2 goals and 2 assists. Did not manage a goal in 17 club appearances in the second half of the season. But looking at that 7.65 rating, well, that looks pretty good. Decent tackling. His passing could use a little bit of work. He's getting a decent number of his shots on target for a right winger. Adriano Hakuda made a very brief substitute appearance for us at the very end of the year, but he spent most of the year out on loan playing center back at Nova Mutum. Now, he is 5'10", so he would most likely play the right back position, which he has also accomplished in. He did make 18 starts in the league, 8 more in the cup, picked up a goal and 4 assists. And if you remember, he wasn't the guy that was very highly rated by our coaching staff, but I looked at him and said there may be something to him. So hopefully over the next couple of years, he will develop into the player that I think he can be. Edson Jose, a central midfielder slash right winger, out on loan at Coxim. 17 starts in the league, 6 more in the cup, 4 assists. Again, those average ratings looking pretty darn good. His passing does need to improve just a little bit, but some decent amount of dribbling out on that right side. He's 6'2", which I like. He's got a fairly professional personality, which I like, and the opportunity to really grow into something of a player. He does need to develop just that little bit more, but I like that professional personality, and he could still improve a lot in the future. Bolivar Guzman had a decent season for our U18 side, also out on loan at Galvez, 2 goals and 2 assists in 17 appearances in the league. Picked up a couple of more starts in the cup, did not produce any goals, but a decent average rating all around. A pretty good player, and his shots on target percentage, nearly 40 for the season, which is pretty darn good. Also picking up more fouls against than he was dishing out, so he could be a very, very potentially positive player we could have on that outside as he continues to grow a little bit. Like to see him get a little bit more strength and maybe just a touch faster. Paulo Alexandre is a tale of 2 different players. He had a very nice stint out on loan at Independiente, 24 starts, picking up 3 goals and 4 assists with a 707 average rating. However, when he was playing with our youth team, he did not do much of anything. Canella is a player I definitely want to keep an eye on, and he may be seeing a significant amount of time with the club this year. He's a 6'3" center back, spent 2 stints on loan at Serra Branca. The first one, he made 22 starts and a couple of sub appearances as well, with 1 goal, 2 assists. He was named player of the match and a 705 average rating throughout. Now, he was better in the cup than he was in the league. His second stint, however, was even more productive. 18 starts, 19 total appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 player of the match awards. Decent passing for a center back, 60% shots on target. Does commit the foul or 2, which does not make me feel great. But 15 heading, 13 jumping reach for a 17-year-old. I like what I see, especially because we are probably going to have a spot open on our back line. And that is because Mateus Mancini, his contract is up at the end of the month of December. Looking at the opportunity to shed $2,100 worth of salary. His form has been declining in recent days, recent years. He did not play a ton in the league as well, just making 4 total appearances with a 6.90 average rating. Carlau has definitely come up. We were giving Nathan Silva a lot more playing time. Carlau made Team of the Year. Nathan Silva, we'll get to him in a little bit. But back to the youngsters. Fabiano Jaeger picking up a couple of loan stints at Iprianga and playing decently well. 3 goals in 26 starts with an okay average rating in his first stint. Second didn't go nearly as well, just picking up a single assist in a bit more limited time. He's still rated as an exciting young prospect, still has good passing. His technique and flair are pretty good. He just needs to work on some of the other stuff and maybe work a little bit harder, but 6'2", hopefully he develops into something quite worthwhile. Speaking of players that might get a little bit more of a look this year with Ituano, a loan spell for 6 months at Esportivo was excellent for 17-year-old right wing / center mid Gil Ballara. 19 starts in the league. He had a goal, 2 assists, and a player of the match. 81.5% passing. He was even better in non-competitive matches, but overall nearly 80% on his passes, over 40% with his shots on target. I think he could potentially be a nice addition to the team. Again, good technique and flair. He's got that pace, not as much acceleration as we would like, and at only 5'6", a little bit more diminutive, but he is seeing improvements in his strength as he gets older, and I hope that he just continues to grow and grow. He is wanted on loan. We may allow that to happen, but Gil Ballara is one of those players that could potentially get a sniff at Ituano this year. Igor had a very successful loan stint at Pantanal, made 22 starts, 1 goal, 1 assist as a center back, did very, very well, especially in the cup competition. We brought him to Ituano for the second half of the year. We could not loan him out again, or at least he wouldn't go back to Pantanal, and made a couple of starts and a sub appearance. He was okay. We'll see. We didn't really get a super long look at Igor. We'll probably take another look at him this season if we don't loan him out. He is, however, wanted out on loan by River, Santa Catarina, Falcon, and Serra Branca. And Serra Branca has been developing our players pretty well for us so far. And our final youth candidate is Celio Pereira Silva, who did not go out on loan. He stayed with the club and made 11 appearances with Ituano, and his average rating doesn't show it, but in the match engine, he was looking pretty good moving the ball around. Did pick up 3 assists in non-competitive matches with our reserve team. We did make him available for them and our U18s. 3 starts in the league, an additional 8 sub-appearances. The 6.66 average rating, again, doesn't really tell the full story. His passing percentage of over 85% does, adding an average of 2.1 tackles per 90. He could potentially be the heir apparent to Daniel as our DM, or he could also play that central midfielder position. I'm very excited to see what Pereira Silva might be able to contribute to the team in his second season. As far as the rest of the team goes, Gabriel Rosera led the way last year. 28 appearances in the league, an additional 2 in the cup. Scored a total of 11 goals, added a pair of assists, just 2 Player of the Match awards. Very solid playing as our primary striker. He also obviously saw some playing time in that false 9 role that we basically created for him, or we set up in our tactic for him. High passing percentages, good shots on target. He does cause a few more fouls, and that seems to be a problem that the team in general has. I'm glad Rosera is around. As we mentioned a couple of episodes ago, he did sign a new contract, and we got rid of what was a very, very favorable to the opposition release clause. In fact, our striking trio were pretty excellent all across the board. Rodrigo Haruki, the 20-year-old, coming in and doing a masterful job in the league. 28 total appearances, 5 of them off of the bench, 9 goals, 2 assists, 2 Man of the Match awards, 90% pass percentage, nearly 50% shots on target. He was absolutely excellent. He is probably going to be a bench option this year. Gabriel Rosera does remain ahead of him, and we've got Jay Carlos to consider. The problem is Jay Carlos tends to get himself injured a lot. Only ended up making 23 appearances for the club in the league and the cup. He did score 6 goals, added 4 assists. His average rating, not really where we want it to be with that level of output. His passing at nearly 90% is good. His shots on target, over 50%, also pretty good. Creating more fouls or giving up more fouls than he creates, not as good. And Jay Carlos at 23 years old, he really needs to start showing us what we need to see from him. He's technically excellent. The problem is he just cannot stay on the pitch. Which, while we're talking about this, probably going to create more opportunities from Marcus Antonio, the 16-year-old who just came in through our youth intake. I think we are going to keep him around and see what he can do. Yes, he's got the unambitious personality. Hopefully he does begin to develop. He already came to us as a rather nicely formed player. Not the fastest, not the strongest, but hopefully he can kind of grow into himself and maybe pick up where Jay Carlos might leave off. Now, JP was a bit of an interesting one. He played pretty well on his loan spell last season, in Season 1 at Resende. This year, he stayed with us. He did get time split between right back in place of Lucas Diaz. When necessary, Diaz got suspended a lot, but he also made some appearances on the right wing as well. Ended up picking up 5 goals and 1 assist in 21 total appearances. His average rating isn't showing great, and that's probably because of the number of fouls he also managed to give up. Seems to be a problem with our right backs, but a great individual effort in a couple of episodes ago to score a goal was fantastic, and he managed to find the back of the net 5 times, getting a ton of his shots on target when he gets them off. So JP might see a little bit more playing time this year, depending on Diaz. I mean, Diaz himself was generally pretty good. The only problem is, you see it right there, in the league, 3.1 fouls per match on average, which meant that he picked up a ton of yellow cards, received multiple suspensions over the year, which gave JP more opportunities. Now, I do think that Diaz was the superior defensive player, while JP is a much better attacking right back. So depending on how we want to work our tactic for the year could depend on which of the two is going to see the most playing time. I do have to say Carlisle was probably up there for our player of the year candidate, and he made the team of the year, as I mentioned earlier. A very solid performance, a stalwart at the back, 31 starts in the league, 2 more in the cup, 3 goals and an assist overall. Even named man of the match once. Good passing percentage out of the back. He has been very strong. He's 27 years old, so he is getting a little bit older, but we expect him to be our elder statesman on the back line, and hopefully he'll be sticking around for a couple of more years. He is signed through the end of 2029. While Lucas Stefanello did make 19 appearances in all competitions for Ituano, primarily as a left wing. He did manage 3 goals, 3 assists, but he was starting to find himself sliding down the pecking order with Rodrigo Haruki really battling for that spot, neither of whom were really designed to be our starting left wing. But when the going got tough, I think Haruki ended up getting the call a few more times than Stefanello did. He still played pretty well, an excellent dribbler, good shots on target percentage, and his passing of almost 90% was pretty excellent. Still a very solid player. At 22 years old, though, we need to figure out just exactly what he's going to be for us. I am a little torn on what we're going to do in the future with Daniel. Now, he was a stalwart on the team, the 31-year-old defensive midfielder, making 30 starts and an additional sub appearance across all competitions. Added 2 spectacular set-piece goals and only just the 1 assist. The 6.75 rating in all comps was pretty good. I feel like he is starting to slide a little bit, so maybe Pereira Silva, maybe Igor might step up and take a few of those starts in the year to come. Another possibility in the position is the 22-year-old Leo Souza. He made 1 start with 6 appearances coming in off of the bench. Did score that 1 goal as a super sub that you saw right here on the channel last season. However, I'm just not sold on him. I don't know if he has the defensive prowess that we need. His tackling is pretty good, but his marking ability and off the ball aren't quite up to snuff for that position, and I think we probably have better options. He is on the loan list. We may send him out for another year. We may keep him around on the bench. After all, we need to have 30 players in our senior squad anyway, but Leo Souza just not really doing it. Gui Miranda is still only 19 years old and saw a sniff of some play this year. 10 substitute appearances, did pick up a single goal. It did come in the Cup. He played pretty well in the Copa do Brasil. His passing ability is great, and every shot he took was on target. He just didn't take very many shots. We did play him more, I think, on the right side than we did as a striker this year, but the 19-year-old just really has not developed to the point that we were hoping he might, so he may be an expendable piece for the season coming up. Just a couple more players I want to highlight before we get to goalkeeper. Nicholas had himself a pretty decent year, although not necessarily the year we wish he would have had. Only 1 goal and 4 assists in 22 total appearances, 13 of them starts. His crossing was pretty good. He did have some injury issues as well, so he didn't quite get in there as much as we would have liked. Hopefully, the 22-year-old is continuing to progress. You see the down arrows here. That's just temporary. They're off on holiday, losing sharpness and all that. Love to get his crossing up a bit. Love to get his dribbling up just a tad. His technique isn't quite where we want it for an outside winger, but he's got the pace, and that is something we desperately need to latch on to, and hopefully we can use that to our advantage this season. Juan Richard, in my opinion, was excellent as our left wing back. 25 starts, 3 additional substitute appearances in all competitions, picked up a goal and 3 assists, 2 player of the match awards. Still a lot of fouls for us on the outside, but averaging over 3 tackles per 90. Pretty good for an outside player, especially considering the fact that in Football Manager 26, as things stand right now, those fullbacks and wingbacks are very exposed to talented dribblers in the match engine as things stand. So as the new patch comes out, hopefully in the next week-ish, hopefully we'll see even more dividends from the 22-year-old. And then there's 23-year-old Victor Reis. He looks good when he is out there. His production, however, does not match what it should and what he expects of himself. He's still under contract through the end of 2028. He does want a new deal at more than twice the money, and right now I'm hesitant to give it to him. Just a single goal and 2 assists. 2 of those 3 goal contributions came in the Cup. So while Victor Reis has been our best option at central mid so far, will he continue to be so? I don't know. I think Pereira Silva is going to end up supplanting him in that position as the year goes on. And finally, we have our goalkeeper, Saulo, who we signed to a new contract through the end of 2029 as an important player, and that's going to be important coming up. Managed to keep 7 clean sheets out of 28 appearances. Needs to definitely be better. Conceded 47. Now, to be fair, a decent amount of that was against Serie A competition in the Sao Paulo State Championship, but we do still have to play those matches. So while the best option that we had, I'm not sure if the 32-year-old is really truly going to be our starter, because the more and more I think about it, the more and more excited I am to see what 16-year-old Andre can do. Just came in through our youth intake. Now, this doesn't mean we are getting rid of Saulo, because we really don't have anyone behind these 2 as we saw last year, and I think that's part of what cost us the qualification in Série C for the second stage. I think Andre is going to start off the season as our primary goalkeeper, and we will see how that goes. So a few more things to sort out before we start play in early January, and we are going to kick off the Sao Paulo State Championship competition in the next episode. Let me know down below what you think about the team. If there are any moves that you think you would make that are different than the ones that I suggested. Also, put in your predictions down below how you think we're going to do in the season. I think we're going to be okay this year. We're again slated for a mid-table finish. Hopefully in the Sao Paulo State Championship, we won't be fighting against relegation so vigorously as we have in the last couple of years. Hopefully we're a little bit more safe. That's really going to depend on Andre, I guess now, isn't it? And how you think we're going to do in Serie C. Could this be the year that we finally make qualification? The youth movement begins now at Ituano, and we are going to be relying much more heavily on our young players that we've been getting through over the last couple of years, starting this year. This is where the save is really starting to get interesting. If you want to make sure that you are here for all of it, please hit subscribe on the channel, turn on your notifications so you know when the next episode comes out. If you already subscribed, thank you so very much. Make sure you like the video, get this out to as many people as possible. Share the wealth, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, my friends, bye-bye.